Welcome to Let's De-Stress podcast. This is a disclaimer. I am not a licensed doctor or therapist in regards to the topics of this podcast. All responses are based off personal opinions and research done beforehand. If you or someone you know is dealing with a mental health crisis, contact the National Mental Health Hotline at 866-903-3787. All calls are free of charge and confidential. Let's de-stress together. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Let's De-Stress. Appreciate you guys tuning into today's podcast episode. If you are tuning in or finding other ways to tune in, remember you can always download Spotify for Creators. Spotify for Creators is a free app available for Android as well as iPhone users. If you're looking to start your very own podcast, I highly recommend you download it. If you're looking to find other shows like Let's De-Stress and many, many more, I highly recommend you download it as well. Remember to check out Spotify for Creators. Look for the purple circle with the lines through it, just like Spotify, but it's purple circle instead of a green circle. All right, let's get into it. So I did mention before, we were definitely going to talk or continue to talk about happiness. So we talked about hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. Hedonic happiness was episode 194, and the latest one, eudaimonic happiness, was episode 197. We did take a little bit of a break there by getting you a different episode. If you guys tuned into it, pressing the reset button, we all have that, and I feel like we all at times need to use it in our daily lives. But again, focusing back on the happiness, and today we're going to focus on social happiness. What is social happiness? So, by definition, it reads a state of well-being that involves positive interactions with others and a sense of meaning and purpose. It also states that it's often measured by how satisfied someone feels with their life and relationships. So again, when you think of social, your social life pretty much, like outside world, social can be at work, but usually when we talk about that or we link the word social, we think of like outside of work. So like, out and about, going bowling, hang out with friends, parties, clubs, whatever you want to talk about, And the first definition, again, a state of well-being that involves positive interactions with others and a sense of meaning and purpose. You always want to have those good interactions, almost like a first impression, especially if you're meeting different people, like people you're not used to hanging out with, or maybe, you want that positive interaction. Let's say you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend and she takes you to meet her friends or he takes you to meet his friends. You want that positive interaction with others and having that sense of like, you mean something. There's a purpose for you. So that social happiness is something that we definitely crave, but it's also, I think, one of the tougher things to achieve in the form of happiness, mainly because you don't necessarily know how the other party is going to receive you. I said it before and I said it again. We judge each other each and every single day based off of our looks, appearances, how we talk, like our tone. We're always being judged. Now, not every judgment is a bad thing. It could be a good thing, or it could be something like, what? He looks like he's into this. She might be into that. But we judge everybody all the time. If you say you don't, I'm not going to say I don't believe you, but I'm going to say think long and hard about that, because I feel like there has been moments where we do judge, and I'm guilty of it as well. But going back to that, I think that judgment comes in, especially when it comes to the social aspect or social happiness, because again, we already know our people. We know how they make us feel, but going out into a different atmosphere, a different environment, in a social environment, not everyone knows who you are, right? You're going to run into people that you don't know, you're meeting for the first time. And again, that's that positive interaction that we want, which is also deemed like the first impression. So we want that social belonging, we want to have that purpose, like we belong in this social group, and I think social happiness is good for everybody because that means you're expanding your horizon of happiness. You have to step out of your comfort zone every now and then. You can't really achieve social happiness if you're in the house all day. You can't really achieve social happiness if you just stay in your neighborhood. Well, let me take that back. You can achieve that in your neighborhood, but I mean, if you want to expand, like if they want to, again, invite you to things, to the movies or anything like that, you got to expand that. You're going to be around other people that you never know or you didn't know. And that's that social happiness. And then when you build on that, relationships start building. I get, to a point where I hang out with some friends and I meet friends from their past or friends from, they've known a long time, and it becomes a great social interaction, a positive interaction to where the next time I see them, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How are you doing? How is such and such, or how's that hobby that you like? It builds a good, warm feeling of happiness when you can bring it to the social aspect. And I feel like that is something that everybody is working on each and every day, because you got to think, some people, when it comes to being social, they're naturals at it. They can be social with anybody, start a conversation with anybody, just be themselves. Others can be, again, socially awkward. And a lot of the times it's more of a challenge to get a conversation starter, or they're more secluded to themselves, or they kind of hang around, their one person, the one friend that they actually know, and they just kind of follow them around. I'm not going to lie. I feel like that sometimes if I was going to a party, because parties aren't really my setting. And that's probably something I would honestly do. Like, I don't know why I would go, really, because that's, again, not my scene. But if it were to happen, I remember a high school party. I think it was like a Halloween party theme or something. And I didn't think we were going. And then we ended up going. And then I ended up just being around my friends that I came with because I was like, I don't really want to be here. But luckily, from a social interaction standpoint, a lot of my friends that I knew were there. So I wasn't completely in a social awkward situation because I knew a lot of the people. But basically, there's people that are really good at being social. And again, they're socially awkward. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how it is. Sometimes it just comes across, some things come across a lot easier than others. And so, again, with that social happiness, again, that positive interaction and the sense of meaning and purpose, and then just the satisfied, how it makes you feel satisfied, in their life and relationships. Again, it builds really good relationships when you can be social, because now it's like people want to be around stuff like that. People like socializing. It builds great conversation. You learn new things about people every day. So you're getting more bits and pieces of information. And then you get like a final assessment, a final review. I'm like, you know what? I really like this person. I really enjoy their company. I wouldn't mind inviting them again to whatever plan you guys decide to do, And again, that social happiness is key. And you can only build it if you step out of your comfort zone. So again, when we talk about social happiness, we talk about a state of well-being that involves positive interactions with others and a sense of meaning and purpose. And is often measured by how satisfied someone feels with their life and relationships. Now, if you guys haven't picked up on it by now, these types of episodes, when we have definitions, in particular the key term episodes, there's going to be a lot of repetition of the definition. A lot of repetition for the definition. Look at me rhyming. Anyway, it's the reason why I do that is because I want to emphasize what it is focusing on and how we as individuals can relate to said definition and said situation. Because think about it. With social happiness, I'm sure you guys have several examples of this that have happened to you in the past. It could be something that happened to you today. You never really know. But again, that social happiness is a happiness that we want, a happiness that we're still working on, and a happiness that we absolutely crave. That's going to do it for today's episode. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the happiness series, if you like to call it that, learning different types of happiness. There's one more to go over, and then we'll officially be done, and we'll continue to roll out some of these episodes. But remember, if you haven't done so already, check out Let's De-Stress Podcast. You can download Spotify for Creators, or if you guys are already on Spotify, you can type in Let's De-Stress and you can check out the episodes there. And also remember to hit that notification bell on Spotify so you know when new episodes are popping in for Let's De-Stress. Love you guys. Talk to you next time.